This is a broadcast of SmallCapVoice.com, a financial communications and investor relations firm. SmallCapVoice.com receives payment for investor relations and financial consulting services that it provides to its clients. You should assume that officers, directors, and employees of SmallCapVoice.com or financial analysts mentioned and their families hold a position and intend to trade in these securities for their own accounts. This is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell securities. Information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be, nor should it be construed as investment advice. As in all investments, an investment in the featured company carries an investment risk. Listeners should review the company thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This broadcast does not purport to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used and statements of fact have been obtained from the featured company and other sources but not verified nor guaranteed by SmallCapVoice.com as to completeness or accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice.
You're wired in. SmallCapVoice.com. Following is a presentation of SmallCapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support. Now, with your online business briefing, SmallCapVoice.com's Stuart T. Smith.
Welcome one, welcome all to this online business briefing brought to you by SmallCapVoice.com, where we shine a spotlight on some of the smartest plays here in the microcap and small cap market. And as you heard, I'm your host, Stuart Smith. Now, we're joined today for the very first time by Valdor Technology International Incorporated. You can follow along by visiting the company's website, valdortech.com. Now, this company is duly listed on the TSX Venture Exchange under the ticker symbol VTI, and here in the United States under the ticker symbol VTIFF. And we're lucky enough to be joined by the chairman of the board and a director for the company, Mr. Elston Johnston. Elston, how are you today?
I'm very well, Stuart. Thanks.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to call in to smallcapvoice.com to speak to our audience here. Now, for those who may not be familiar with Valdor Technology International, if you would, tell us a little bit about the business model and market.
You bet. I'd be happy to do that, Stuart. Valdor is a fiber optics company with an acquisition strategy. Our objective is organic growth by developing quality business solutions for new and existing clients. We sell, one of the things you might say differentiates us from other companies that are selling stuff, is we sell solutions as opposed to products. Now, that manifests itself in the form of products, but our attitude is we're selling solutions, not products. Our focus is also on high-quality, harsh environment products. We do both direct sales and we sell via channels such as joint ventures and distributors. In our fiber optics division, and we do have, as I said, have an acquisition strategy, but in our base company fiber optics division, we are focusing on passive fiber optic products, especially for the fiber to the home, fiber to the premises, fiber to the curb market. We sell all passive fiber optic devices, but we have a couple of very unique product lines that have extremely desirable features, and these are very high-quality splitters that can accommodate humidity and temperature extremes, and number two, high-quality field-installable connectors that have unique installation advantages. These product lines do have some patent and or proprietary protection, and these are our signature products, these splitters and connectors. Now, we will be developing other company divisions in our growth by acquisition strategy, and we are currently acquiring a business in the video streaming sector. I believe that video streaming will ultimately replace television, and there's lots of indications and lots of projections about that being the case. Fiber to the home, fiber to the premises, the FTTX market, and video streaming, both of these sectors that we are involved with are very timely and compelling business sectors. I do love talking about Valdor, so I'm happy to talk to you today.
Well, great. And I hear what you're saying because I've read some of the company news, and specifically, let's talk about the splitter here for a moment. And I couldn't agree with you more, though, about the video streaming as well, and we'll come back to that. But let's talk about the splitter business. That might not be as readily apparent to the average investor. In Canada only, This is a market that's going to be, around $300 million a year?
I think you're probably referring to the telecom sector as it relates to the rollout of fiber to the home.
Mm-hmm.
The active and passive markets for global markets within Canada for fiber to the home products is about $300 million. We are focusing on the passive sector of that market, and nothing to say we can't move into the active side of it as well. But the passive side is about $100 million a year is what we estimate. And the active side, in Canada alone, relating to fiber to the home, the rollout of fiber to the home, is about $300 million a year. So we are currently in that passive side, which is about $100 million a year within Canada. Now you take that and multiply that by 10 for North America, and multiply that by another 10 or so for the entire world. So it is a very large global annual market. There's lots of room for Valdor and several other companies.
Well, but your company right now, for the listeners who may not be well aware of it, has actually sent out to its third Canadian telecom company, which is evaluating your splitter. And it sounds like from the quote we see here from your vice president of sales is the feedback is tremendous. Not only from the point that they are educating you on the product itself and giving you good tips, but they're also saying they're very impressed with it. And again, you pointed out earlier in the audio interview that this is in a harsh environment. These are supposed to be used as well, which we know Canadian winters can be just that. Give us your take on what the feedback is that you're receiving from these telecoms in Canada that are evaluating the splitter.
We have one Canadian telecom, and all the Canadian telecoms are very high quality, very quality oriented. We have one particular telecom who has to date installed 15 of our splitters. In the last year, they have not installed anybody else's splitters into their network, only the 15 of ours, and that is because the other splitters that they have been using up until, the other splitters prior to our splitters, which they have just in the last year started to install, the other ones had great problems with cold weather conditions. And keep in mind that this fiber to the home industry has it's in its infancy. North America, the penetration within North America is only about 5%. Probably in the entire world, it is average of about 5%. There are some Asian countries that are up to maybe 50%, but worldwide it's probably about 5%, and that's about what it is in the USA and Canada. So it's just begun. But the other splitters that this telecom have been installing, they started having problems in the minus 15 to minus 20 degrees Celsius temperature. Now, for U.S. listeners, there is a significant difference between the Fahrenheit and the Celsius temperature scales. But at minus 15, they start having problems. At minus 20, they have lots of problems. And our splitters have been tested at the factory for minus 65 degrees Celsius. We rate them for minus 55, but we test them, every single splitter and every leg. These are 1 to 32 splitters that we're talking about, by the way. There's one feed coming in and 32 identical feeds going out, so that if you have an apartment building that has 64 apartments in it, you bring in 2 feeds and you have 2 of these 1 to 32 splitters, and these 2 splitters accommodate each one of the 64 tenants in this building. Every one of our splitters is thoroughly tested for extreme temperature conditions. Now, ours, we rate them for minus 55, although we test them to minus 65. We don't know of any other splitter in the world that is rated for better than minus 40 degrees Celsius. So for telecoms who are very concerned about the quality of their product, which is a signal coming into premises and homes and businesses, this is to have these things failing is very, very a major problem with them. Now, we have one Canadian telecom who have been working with for about a year, and they have had a lot of experience with our product, and they seem to love it. We have 2 others that have taken a couple of our splitters to examine, and we have 2 others that we're in contact with. And of these, if you take these 5 Canadian telecoms in total, they relate to about 95% of the Canadian telecom business. Now, once we get established with the Canadian telecoms, we believe it'll be fairly easy to do business with the U.S. telecoms, and then, of course, internationally as well.
Very good. Well, let's take a change of pace here and talk a little bit about what you touched on earlier, which is the acquisition that the company recently made, and in essence, diversifying your revenue stream and your business model. And that's a VideoWare Incorporated here in the same state that SmallCapVoice is here in Texas. Now, were there any synergies, or was it just your knowledge that you pointed out that you think things are moving away from television into video streaming, or were there some synergies with the business model already in place for Valdor?
It's both of those. There is synergy. We think we're getting a very good deal with this. We think we're getting it at a good price point. The key people, or the key person with this acquisition that we're making, we're acquiring the assets of this company, and it is in the process of being done. It's not a done deal yet. We're certain that it will be consummated, but it's probably 80% along the way there now. There are synergies with the people. Our people can sell this video streaming product, and the key person with this company that we're acquiring, he is very excited about coming on board with us, and his background is in fiber optics, and it is with the telecom sector. So there are synergies there, and we see both fiber to the home and video streaming are both very compelling business sectors to be in right now. They will be hot markets for the next at least 5 years, probably 10 years or more, and we're positioning ourselves to take advantage of these two business sectors.
Well, and you bring up another good point that we want to talk about next, and that's the management team for the company. Let's learn a little bit about the leadership for the company. Again, you're our guest today, so let's start with you and your background and then learn about the key members of the management team for Valdor.
I am the largest shareholder in Valdor. I have also put a significant amount of my own money into Valdor. I've put my money where my mouth is. As I said, my background is engineering. I graduated in 1976 with a degree in electrical engineering. I've worked in the field of fire protection loss prevention engineering, not in the field of electrical engineering, for many years. I went on my own as a consultant about 20 years ago. I have a very successful engineering firm in the lower mainland of British Columbia, Canada. And at the same time, I've always been involved with junior public companies. I like the challenge and the satisfaction of turning an idea into something that is real and successful and is growing. And Valdor was something that I found very exciting. Now, I'm going to touch on some of the backgrounds or some of the qualifications that each one of these people have. There's really 5 key management people, but at this point there's 5 key people in the company, and they all have significant shareholdings in the company, so they are motivated to do what is best for the shareholders. All the team members have bought into Valdor through private placements, and we all like and respect one another. We have a very, very good working relationship with one another. We're friends, and we have a team here that is very synergistic. There's Brian Finley. He's got 35 years public company and business experience. There's Ron Boyce. He has 30 years of high-tech and communications industry experience. He has a very close relationship with several of the Canadian telecoms. He has also owned his own business. There's Lass Yabbitt. He's an engineer with technical expertise and fiber optics expertise. He's been involved with fiber optics all his life, and he has been involved with several startups on a management level for international fiber optic manufacturing facilities. Raj Kapani, he has senior management experience with large technology companies such as Tyco. He has many strong relationships with North American and international high-tech companies at a senior level. He has had a great deal of personal experience with running both junior startup companies and multinational conglomerates. He also has had personal experience with more than a dozen mergers and or acquisitions. One of the things about his background gives him great access to talented people and acquisition targets. He gives, I guess you might say, Raj Kapani and Las Yabit give Valdor its fiber optics pedigree, and there will be management synergy between Valdor and our current acquisition target and any other acquisitions that we make as we move forward.
Well, Elston, let's talk about the achievements for the company last year, the year 2013.
I would say that they would be, in simple terms, we restructured the company from an R&D mode to a sales and growth mode. We have fine-tuned the Valdor product lines. We have designed a unique splitter with valuable attributes for the telecom industry. We have begun to make penetrations into T-Telecoms with our splitter, and we have established contacts in South America, Africa, and Asia for distribution channels for our various product lines.
Well, listeners, once again, we are speaking with Mr. Elston Johnston, Chairman of the Board for Valdor Technology International Incorporated. Those ticker symbols again on the TSX Venture Exchange, VTI, and on the U.S. exchange here, VTIFF. Now, you've given us a tremendous amount of information on what the company's been able to do to get to this point. Here we are in the beginning of 2014. What are some of your goals for the company moving forward?
In the big picture, our objective is to develop great solutions for our customers and drive profitable revenue. It's my opinion, as one of the key people in the company here, that if you treat your customers well, they will come back and they'll want to introduce you to more people. So I think the objective of driving revenues is a natural follow-through from finding solutions and helping your customers. Specifically, we want to expand telecom sales in the USA and Canada. The splitter that we talked about is the thin edge of the wedge that will open the door to both other telecoms around the world from our Canadian experience. It'll open the door for us selling our splitters to other telecoms, and it'll also open the door to us selling other products throughout the telecom sector. Number two is to increase our fiber optics growth via direct sales and distributors. Number three would be to modify, revitalize, and enhance our Valdor website so we can use it more for online sales and to take advantage of social media. A fourth objective would be to exploit and develop synergy between Valdor and our current acquisition and other acquisitions in the future. Fifth thing would be to explore other acquisition targets, and the sixth objective would be to coach and train distribution channels for our various product lines.
Excellent. Well, listeners, as you can tell, this is a company that's really starting to hit its stride late in 2013, and now here the foundation is set for a very successful 2014. So once again, I encourage you to follow along with us and visit the company's website, valdortech.com. Well, Elston, I want to thank you so much for your time and your candor and your personal insight into this company's exciting business model here today at SmallCapVoice.com. Of course, we wish you great luck here in 2014 and beyond, and look forward to speaking with you here in the near future. Thanks, Elston.
Thanks for having me.
All right, for Elston Johnston, this is Stuart Smith saying thanks so much for listening.
SmallCapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support, provides its clients with the highest level of service. Our audio interviews are disseminated to one of the largest opt-in audiences available today. How? We at SmallCapVoice.com believe in aligning and affiliating ourselves with other leaders within the investor relations community. By sharing resources, each affiliated firm is made that much stronger, and each client is served that much better. Our focus is to identify and provide the very best financial services and solutions available to clients and their shareholders. For more information about our services, please call us at 512-267-2430 or visit us on the web at www.smallcapvoice.com.